Welcome to More Core. I'm Scott Johnson, and I owe you an apology. It has been a little bit of time since we've had one of these, and it wasn't on purpose. We just had a family reunion, a couple of trips, crazy stuff going on, and it just hasn't really settled yet. And I just barely got out of jury duty, or I got let go because I guess for whatever reason, I didn't qualify. So there's been just a ton going on. And I thought, well, now might be a good time to finally push out a new episode today. So I'm doing that right now. I don't know if you guys have been following what's going on in China in terms of games and gamers and restrictions, but there are some pretty crazy rules that went into place not too long ago. And it was basically aimed at 18-year-olds and under. Kids, basically restricting how much time they could spend playing video games on any given day or week or, any given time. And there's been enough time that has passed where they can kind of assess how things have gone. And the results have been sort of mixed. China claims it's had a big impact and done exactly what they wanted it to do. But some independent studies are showing things like in 7 billion hours of gaming, it has made very little dent. Most people sort of tried to work around it. Other reports say it did make a dent, but not one that was sizable enough or didn't really reach what China's goals were. And at the same time, they've been clamping all this down. There have been initiatives in the country to push more esports and to really make big bets on esports moving forward, as well as expecting a lot of growth within the Chinese video game market, the companies themselves that are developing and publishing games. Well, we now have more to add to this story. China has introduced new guidelines for the establishment of minors' modes for the mobile internet. That's the complete quote there. This all happened on August 2nd. These guidelines involve a government-led parental control system that brings together app developers, app stores, and device manufacturers to create a comprehensive minors mode. The system aims to regulate minors' internet usage, including Chinese companies as well as non-Chinese giants like Apple, Samsung, and the like. The rules are highly detailed, restricting children under 8 to 40 minutes of daily device usage focused on educational and constructive content. Once they turn 8 years old, screen time extends to 60 minutes, encompassing entertainment with positive guidance, they say. The specifics of these guidelines are too extensive to fully cover here, obviously. So some quick thoughts on this as someone who, raised 3 kids and did so during, happy time, screen time. Really, my kids were I suppose, the target audience for what they're saying here as smartphones were becoming massive. So we're talking like mid 2010s, like 2015, 2014, up through 2017 or so, 2018 maybe, was the hotspot for me and my kids and screen time, and me as a parent being faced with some of these questions and issues about not just screen time, but like how long did Nick get to play Minecraft on any given weekend, or how long was I going to let somebody play Diablo all night. My daughter was absolutely hooked on Diablo. Another daughter was super hooked on WoW for a long time. How much time do they get to play versus spending time on their, on their homework or other activities, that sort of thing? I will admit here, I'm coming from an American bias. Okay. I think that anytime the government wants to parent for me, my bristles go up and I get frustrated. But I also understand that there are some big cultural differences, and a lot of this is driven by those cultural differences. And so I'm willing to actually hear out people's perspectives on this if they think it's actually a good thing that a government, either local or national, intervenes in some of the parenting jobs that you would normally do around this kind of stuff. Because on the one hand, I think it was really important for me and my kids to structure their lives as a parent the best I could so that they had a good balance, right? And we're a bad example because I was super pro video game in my household and nobody really got in too much trouble for that. And I was playing them too. So, it's maybe not, your mileage may vary depending on household, but that's maybe where it gets complicated and where some might argue a unified approach, like a government plan, makes sense because then you have one unified plan and you hold everyone to that standard. I understand that on paper. I just think it feels authoritarian and I don't like the sound of it. Again, I've got some biases in that regard, so I'm willing to listen to what others have to say about this. But personally, I find all that just really repulsive. Okay, I can't stand that idea. I say that knowing full well there are tons of parents who just let their kids do whatever they want to do, and there's no parenting happening under that roof. Well, what do? You want to give them the freedom to parent according to their own dictates, but you also don't want to see a nation full of deadheads one day because too many parents let too many kids sit and do nothing and watch TikTok all afternoon or play League of Legends well into the night. Personally, it feels like this will backfire on them when you're trying to invest in the future of gaming, and it is a massive future for everyone involved. China wants to have as much of a hand in that cookie jar as possible, so throwing restrictions like this up seems like that will curtail that while you're also trying to build that. To me, they seem at odds with each other. But I think the whole thing just brings up interesting thoughts and comments about self-regulation and parenting and what we expect out of our parents and what we expect out of our kids and what we expect from our government when it comes to our personal lives, even when it just comes down to just basic daily screen time. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. What do you guys think about it? I personally am leaning toward this is not a great idea and they should probably approach it differently. All right. That's kind of where I land. But if you land somewhere else, I would love to hear it. So what I'm going to ask for is here comments on the video if you can. If you can't do that and you'd rather text me, you can do that. 801-471-0462. You can text me and I'll happily read what you have to say there. And if we get enough response on this and it warrants an additional episode where we can talk more about it, we'll do that. So let's do that, okay? I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Finally, let's just leave you with this. I find the NPCs and characters in Star Trek Online to be borderline hilarious. And here's an example of one, and we'll see you next time.
Not good. Not good. We need to go now. Quick, release the plasma coolant.
Get more at frogpants.com.